Brodes Media.
What is up? How are you all? Welcome in Sports Talk with Brodes. So, I have to talk about Jalen Hurts more. Yep. Whether you like it or not, I'm trying to figure out exactly why he made the mistakes that he made in Brazil. So we will throw out a couple of theories. Before we do, if you are new to the channel, we talk Philly sports every day here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up button as well. You could take me on the road with you by going to Apple Podcast and Spotify. And if you search Brodes Media or Sports Talk with Brodes, it'll pop up. Leaving a 5-star rating and a review helps out the algorithms so much. So if you subscribe over there, that would truly help out. And lastly, if you are interested in more Brodes Media content, well, you can join the memberships here on YouTube. We live stream twice a week, 8 times a month. Coffee with Brodes, where we get to hang out for about a half hour or so in the morning, have a cup of coffee together, and talk about all things going on. So the information for that is down below in the description. You also get access to the Discord channel as well, where we have a 24/7 chat with the entire membership community. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll shut up now. Thank you all so much and enjoy the show. Don't come after me. I promise. We will be talking about the Phillies very shortly here on Brodes Media. I'm waiting for the Rays series to finish up, and then we'll get into all the hot topics. Until then, though, it's Jalen time. Yeah, I know. It's about the quarterback again. And I just can't shake what happened week 1. I still feel good about the W, and I am proud that the team handled all of the travel and they were able to have a weird work week, weird practice schedule. You know, it's just not the norm, and they are a creature of habits, and they were robbed of that opportunity for week 1, and they still secured a W. And I don't want to take that away from this group. And I also want to look at all the positives with Bourne, all the positives with Becton, all the positives with Quinyon Mitchell and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and realize that there was definitely more good than bad in Brazil. With that, though, why did Jalen Hurts make the mistakes that he made? And nobody's perfect. You could point out that Josh Allen wasn't necessarily playing like his hair was on fire early. Joe Burrow, okay? They lost to the damn Patriots in Cincinnati. That is putrid. Matthew Stafford made a crazy-ass decision to throw a brutal interception against the Rams on Sunday Night Football. So some of me believes that maybe we're holding a standard to just playing perfect every week. But then the other half says, dude, you can't chuck it up into triple coverage and think that good things are going to happen. It's stupid. Dude, you can't throw the football in the end zone when you're up 5 with a chance to kick a field goal to make it a 1-possession game. You can't just chuck it in the end zone to get picked off, especially when you should have been picked seconds before that on a play previously. So why did it look this way, other than sometimes quarterbacks are going to realize as the ball is leaving their fingertips, this is embarrassing? I have 4 potential reasons why it happened. First, though, I want to start with one of the poll questions that I asked the people, because I thought the results were fascinating. So here was my question after week 1. Are you more encouraged or upset with what you saw from Jalen? And this is where I land when it comes to that question. I'm more upset, but there's a technicality involved. I didn't realize my wife Stanley was in the camera shot. That was ugly. I didn't like it. Bothered me. I'm more upset. And here's why. Because I figured he could make the throws that he made that wowed me. The insane pass to Saquon. The 3rd and 8 where someone was coming and there was pressure right on his back and he stayed in the pocket, delivered a strike to A.J. Brown, which helped move the chains. That's lethal stuff. The 7-minute drive. Beautiful to milk that much clock. But I knew he could do that. The reason why I'm upset is because I thought that we would have less turnovers this season. And right now, we are backpacking off of the problems with last year quarterback play. I am encouraged with some of those throws, don't get me wrong, but the question asks, which one is impacting you more? I'm encouraged by it, but I thought he could do it. I thought a lot of the issues was dumbass scheme. And you could tell the big difference when Kellen Moore is clicking. Because there were times where he was coaching circles around that team. And he had every answer. And he had matchups dialed up. And it worked crisp. They scored 34 damn points. They were getting the ball in the end zone. And don't forget, this is right after a lot of turnovers, too. Put up a lot of points. Now, though, I'm wondering, what type of quarterback do we have? And that's a scary thought. So, let's go through my 4 potential reasons why Jalen Hurts wasn't so great. Number 1, and I don't buy all of these, by the way. I'm just trying to logically process it. The field sucked. And the reason why I bring that up is because with 2 costly mistakes, the 3rd and 15 interception, and then the interception in the end zone, both times you can make the argument. Now, I'm looking at it as probably more of an excuse than an argument. But you can make the argument that Saquon Barkley slipping on the field for the first toss of the game, which led them essentially into a 3rd and long. If you're playing on field that makes sense here in the damn United States, maybe that's a gain of 3. With the way Saquon was running, who knows? It probably could have been a gain of 22. But we'll give the other team the benefit of the doubt. What if it's now 2nd and 7? Or you're eventually in a 3rd and 4 situation instead of 3rd and 15 because your spikes can actually grab damn traction and you can start effectively running on the field. I'm just asking the question. Don't get mad at me if you don't like it. Which brings me to the end zone interception where A.J. Brown slipped prior. Here's my issue with digging deep into those 2 situations. Even if that is the case, and your team is now in an uncomfortable position, you have to manage it significantly better than what you did. Because your team's probably going to shoot themselves in the foot again. Who's to say a lineman won't have a false start? Who's to say there won't be a holding? And then that pushes you back behind the sticks. I guarantee it's going to happen. And what I need my quarterback to do is not turn the rock over or to not throw it into triple coverage. Or even if you need to throw it away and live with 3. Because that's a way better alternative. I was disappointed with how the first half ended. They kicked the field goal. They didn't get a true legitimate shot to try and get 6.7 points. They got the ball back after half. They knew that. They were trying to do the double dip. I was hungry, and I was absolutely grabbing for more. I was being greedy. I wanted 14 instead of 10 when you added up the before half, after half scoring. But I'll take 3 all day when, you're putting it in the hands of the other team like that. 5-point game, kick a field goal, 8 points at worst. At worst, the other team, all they can do is tie it up. And that's if, with a ton of pressure, they're able to execute a 2-point conversion. So I would like my quarterback, when put in crappy decisions, to be smarter with the football. So that one doesn't resonate with me that much. Number 2, he wants to stick it to Nick Sirianni. The reason I say that is we've previously heard that Nick Sirianni didn't really want or trust Jalen Hurts to throw the football over the middle. A lot of it had to do with sideline work. I know for a damn fact Jalen took that personally. He pretends like he doesn't listen to rat poison or doesn't hear anything. He damn sure knew what his head coach was saying, or he knew how his head coach felt. So I guess rat poison's more public perception and media and sports talk radio and things of that nature. Inside the NovaCare complex, he probably knows how everybody feels. But I guess they did not trust him last season with those throws. And I don't know if that's reasonable or if that should tick Jalen Hurts off because he has the ability and the coaching staff is holding him back. This year will tell us, and I guess based off the track record of game 1, maybe there was a reason why Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson felt the need to maybe peel that layer out of the playbook. I don't know yet. Time will tell. He probably can use the middle of the field more. What he can't do is throw it late over the middle when there's too many bodies there. He was way too late with that first interception. There was no chance for that to succeed. Him and Nick Sirianni are not on great terms. That's inevitable. Did he want to try and prove the head coach wrong? Here's my most believed piece to this all. Number 3, he's trying to keep up pace with AJ, Devontae, and Saquon. I'm not necessarily sure how much he cares if some random person out in Buffalo thinks that the only reason why Jalen Hurts can have a good season is because he has a stacked roster around him. I'm not sure. As I alluded to, his public perception is he doesn't give a rat's ass about anything that is stated about him, but he also seems to be the one to bottle it up internally and use that as motivation. That's how I think he operates, pretends. So maybe he does care about that little old man out in Buffalo. He's just the example I'm using here. There's a lot of talk about Saquon and his ability to dominate. A.J. Brown and Devontae maybe being the best duo in the NFL today, and maybe one of the best duos that we see for a long period of time if they could keep up this rate. Devontae somehow gets lost in the sauce. This man was a machine for you in the fourth quarter, making steady catch after steady catch after steady catch. It was magnificent. But because Saquon and AJ wowed you with a billion touchdowns for the running back and then the one big-ass explosive play right out of the second half shoot, well, then Devontae somewhat is the third piece. But let's take it a step further. Is Jalen Hurts trying to put himself in that same category of them? Because I heard an interesting take over the last 48 hours that if you look at this entire offense, outside of the dots, and yes, your third wide receiver is not better than your quarterback. But when you look at this offense, is Jalen the weakest of those four? Here's where I have an issue with that, though. It's a technicality. For a second, bear with me. What if a team had Jerry Rice, had Rob Gronkowski, had, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of Randy Moss, and for quarterback, it was, I'm trying to think of someone that is good, not great. I don't know. I was going to say Eli Manning, but I'm thinking of someone better than that. This shouldn't be that hard to do. Let's go. Not Aaron Rodgers, not Russell Wilson in his prime. Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan in his prime? And don't shit on him as if he's some bum. Remember Matthew Stafford, maybe? Let's go Matthew Stafford. Let's go Matthew Stafford, a little bit healthier version of Matthew Stafford. And then you were to say, yeah, but Matthew Stafford is the worst of that group. Okay. So? You have Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Gronk. Yeah, maybe Matthew Stafford is technically a little weaker than the rest. How much stock do I put into that when you're losing the context of who the rest is? That's why I can't just hold my hat on a blank statement there. Blanket statement? Blank statement? Listen, I'm not a wordsmith, although this is my job. Just because he may be weaker than those four, and you can make the argument, maybe he's better than Devontae, probably not Saquon, probably not AJ, still probably not Devontae. It's an interesting statement, but it doesn't hold that much weight because all of these men are great at their craft. But is Jalen Hurts trying to keep up with them? So when it's talked about, it's not just they are carrying Jalen and the offense, but he has just as much of a crazy important piece as those three. And does he feel a certain type of way about it if he's not getting what he deems is the proper respect for the way the offense can hum? And then number 4 is last year in general is taking a toll on him. He wants to get that nasty taste out of his mouth. He has nightmares about it every day. He's twisting and turning and crying, and he's banging his head on the damn headboard, trying to figure out why. Did it have to be so bad last year, and I need to fix it? And when he's trying to fix it, he's almost overcompensating. So this is more of just let's talk it out type of pod. Maybe none of them hit you. Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm looking for something that's not necessarily needed, and it was just a bad game. And he'll get back to the guy who doesn't turn the rock over as much as he did in 23 and in this first game in Brazil. Maybe we can look back at this and say it's all foolish. And he's just a star who had a disappointing game. It's very possible. But when, to me, it's so out of character, and I still believe it is, maybe we learn that it's not. And then instead of picking up 4 reasons on why, the answer's simple. This is just who he is. And if you listen to the show that I uploaded with Rob Ellis about 2 days ago or so, I mentioned for the first time in my life, I did start to ponder if we have a turnover-heavy QB. I'm not locked into that take yet, but just the fact that I'm asking myself it is major. Because if there was one area I believed our QB was solidified in, it was his IQ and making smart plays. So we'll see. For whatever it's worth, that's sort of where it is for me. Is there any fear that this reminds me of what transpired with the collapse? And I'll sort of describe it for you a little bit further here. My takeaway is they found a way to win. It wasn't pretty, but they did it. And when they were 10-1 last year, wasn't it about it not being pretty, but they did it? Yes. I also, at the time, when they were 10-1, thought that it was extremely rare to not play your best ball and to be 10-1. So there was something to that. It wasn't just luck. And I stand by that. So maybe that could be more true in 2024. With a different coaching staff, maybe it doesn't head in the same spiral. where it goes out of control. I'm not sure. All right, we'll take some reactions to the game on the Anytime Hotline and hear from all of you about the Eagles starting the season off 1-0. Let's do it.
Yeah, good win. Not satisfied, though. I think this offense can be a lot better. Jalen Hurts running the ball was not very good. He was kind of going down at the line of scrimmage every time. I thought that would be a lot better with the RPOs. The 2 turnovers were horrible. You cannot do that, throwing in double coverage, especially in the end zone on that second one. Can't do that. The defense was lackluster at times, but the field was also in terrible shape. So we'll see what the defense does. Zach Bond was great, and Saquon was unreal. But I think this offense, we put up 34 points. I don't even think we played good. We didn't use Jahan Dotson. We barely even used our passing game, honestly. I think we can be a lot more dimensional in our passing game with all of our weapons and our running back, and first with his running game. So I think this offense has a lot more to give. I think this offense can be the best offense in the NFL easily. We have the best offense in the NFL, I would say, running at full strength. But we got to clean up some of the little things, but glad we got the win.
I definitely believe that this offense has another leap in them, no doubt about it. Their passing game probably can add more wrinkles and can be more established and can sort of build off of what we've seen for sure. I wasn't disappointed in the passing game, though, and unless I read your tone a little bit wrong, it sounded like maybe you were. The touches thing for Saquon, though, is a very interesting question because is he going to get mid-20s every single game? And if he does, is he going to wear down by week 9, 10, 11, 12? I actually thought that maybe in week 1 that they would do their best to try and manage his touches, and not just for week 1, but for probably maybe the first 5, 6, 7 games of the year. So for a back stretch, he could be as fresh as humanly possible. Now that I saw what they did, though, and punch him in the end zone 3 damn times, knowing that we're coming back to South Philadelphia for week 2 on Monday Night Football with Nick Foles and that ceremony and the first game at the Link, I'd imagine that they want to try and duplicate that and have Saquon get to dance a little bit in front of his fans this time around. So I'd imagine maybe it even continues, to be honest. I just didn't know what to expect, and I didn't expect him to get that heavy of a workload. The one stretch of Kenny Gainwell pissed me off, but I thought, real honest here, that they would shove that down our throat more than they did. It was probably still more than I would even like, but knowing them, I'm surprised they didn't rely on Gainwell more. The Dotson thing, let's not get carried away. Jahan Dotson will have a role. They're going to have trouble trying to figure out how to throw the football around to all of their big name men. They haven't even figured out Dallas Goedert yet. And Nick Sirianni spoke on this too. It's going to be difficult every week to distribute the football where everybody gets these even touches. Yeah, there may be a game where Dotson gets a little bit more and he gets 4 receptions or something like that. And you think, wow, all right, that's the Dotson game. 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions. What the hell? That came out of left field, but okay. You take it how you can get it. It wasn't the A.J. Brown show, okay? But they have to figure out A.J., Devontae, Saquon, Jalen, and also Goddard before we get to Dotson. I ain't worried about getting Dotson. Dotson's the guy that just runs routes and then occasionally needs to be prepared for whenever it does go his way. Won't be often. Might be a 1 time a game. Might be 2 times a game. But when it is, you can't let it slip through your fingers. You can't pull a Quez Watkins. You can't accidentally lose your focus for half a second and have the ball go right through your gloves. Make the catch. That's the job. I'm not worried about the coaching staff, though, dialing things up to get him more involved. That's nearly impossible. Nearly impossible. And the last thing I'll say is you are correct about Jalen and his inability to run. He does not look like the same competitor running the football. Can he take a couple bodies on and add a few yards after contact? Absolutely. We actually saw that in the 4th quarter to keep the drive rolling. He can still do that. But that burst, there seems to be a burst that's lost. And it may just be who he is now. Maybe a toll is being taken on his body from all the snaps. I'm not sure. Maybe there's recovery time needed from whatever happened last season, right? I just watched Aaron Rodgers play on Monday Night Football. The guy's 40-something years old, coming off an Achilles heel injury, and some are out there going, he's not the same guy. Well, yeah. You drunk? Of course he's not the same guy. Is Jalen, with whatever was bothering him, it won't be to the same level of a 40-year-old on an Achilles tear, but just trying to figure out how to get back to feeling comfortable after dealing with something that was clearly limiting him. Is that what we're experiencing, or is this the norm now? And is it as important if you have such a strong run game like you do with Saquon Barkley? Once again, I'm just asking questions tonight. Don't get angry with me.
Well, first and foremost, the league should be ashamed of themselves with that field. I mean, they're the richest sports league in the world, yet they're sending guys, down to South America, across the world to play in shit fields like this, on top of, shit turf fields like at the Meadowlands and stuff where you have all kinds of lower body non-contact injuries. That's just pathetic. But yeah, the league's all about, player safety. That's the biggest load of shit I've ever seen in my life. Good resilience by the team. Defense did a good job stiffening up in the red zone, but they need to work to eliminate some of those big chunk plays and explosiveness when offense can get after them. But again, it's week one. They'll hopefully get that buttoned up more under Vic. Offense, just Jalen needs to take better care of the ball and make better decisions, but came in clutch when he needed to, and Barkley was worth every cent, man. It's good to have him here, and thank God for him, and start off the season with a win. And just got to look at the positives. Go Birds.
Well, thank you so much for the call. So I do think the defense sort of discussion is interesting because they obviously did good after the turnovers to limit the score to 6-0 when they could have allowed multiple different touchdowns, which would have absolutely changed the football game and the pressure that was on the Philadelphia Eagles offense. So there's that. There were some big explosive plays, though, when Vic Fangio, in theory, tries to limit as many explosive plays as humanly possible, and that's something that he wants to target. And Nick Sirianni, too. Nick Sirianni, part of his philosophy and what he likes to preach as a coach is he does not want to give up big plays. He'd rather die by a billion paper cuts than have to deal with a one-shot, over-the-top, allow a 75-yard bomb. And that's what he likes to preach. I saw a lot of big-time plays, and I saw this defense get run through. They will have to be way more tougher. They're going to be more intense and bring guys down so they can't get extra yards after you make contact and run for 7 yards and keep the chains moving. Going back to that Monday night game with the way the Jets were getting sliced and diced, and they look like Swiss cheese out there with the way the Niners without Christian McCaffrey was able to absolutely obliterate them almost every single handoff. Were the Eagles as easy to run through? No. Once in a while, though, it's getting a little agitated. I believe Vic Fangio, though, set the tone with a good foundation, with a good structure. I believe you can clean up some of the areas that we're referencing right now with the D. This defense hasn't really, to the level that regular season games are, taken full blows and given full blows. Pause. Sure, Vic Fangio wants them to play in the preseason. It's not the same, though. It's not the same. The bar and the intensity raises by 1,000. September is the new preseason. Some of the tackling will probably shore up. Some of the corners are soft, and that's just what it is. They don't want to tackle, but that's just the corner life in general. Not many times do you find some that are willing to with that snarl. Once in a blue moon, though. The tackling needs to be shorter, but the defense also helped you win this game by keeping it 6-0 when it would have been a disaster. This is the last time, by the way, I'm going to really attack Game 1 in Brazil. I'll move on, and we will look ahead from what's following the Packers after this one. It's a weird schedule to start the year off for us. Normally, you get into rhythm with a few 1 o'clock games or whatever. You get a sense of the normalcy of a football season. Then they threw us all out of whack with Friday. And you normally, by Wednesday, you turn the page, and then you got a Monday night game, which means your football Friday's different. Monday, you're setting yourself up for the action. It's the whole thing. So I'm sort of doing what I feel is right, what I feel is necessary when getting thrown curveballs here with the first and second week of the season. I believe I should be over the Brazil takeaways, but then again, when we have to prolong the Atlanta Falcons coming to town with Kirk Cousins, so I have to go off of. And when Christmas comes around, this is how I sort of justify it. When Christmas comes around, you don't stop playing with your toys when you're younger at the 25th, all right? Christmas night. The 26th, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th. You're either riding that skateboard 8 hours a day on the driveway. You're riding that bike you got that you couldn't wait for. You're playing video games till 3 a.m. because you're so excited you got the new Call of Duty. I'm dating back to when I was younger. You get the new Xbox, and it's the Xbox 360, or it's the original Xbox. It's the PS2. You're going nuts. Well, it's all you can think about for, 3-4 weeks? That's why we're not where we are with the baseball team right now, and I'll get there. I will. I'll get there. I have that fresh football smell through the nostrils. Bear with me. For any of you out there that think, Brodes, will you shut up already about Game 1? I'm sorry. My quarterback was throwing the football to the other team way too much. He could have been picked off 4 times. He could have been picked off 5 times. Could have had 7 turnovers. It's not a game where it was easy as hell and they looked like, what team dominated? Oh, it was against the Panthers, but we didn't watch our team play the way the New Orleans Saints played. We didn't watch our team play the way San Francisco played. So that means I need days of absorbing. I need days of digesting. It's not, okay, this team is the polished team. Not that the New Orleans Saints are polished by any means. They're not polished. That was a product of Carolina sucking ass. Let's go to Mist.
What's up, Brodes? It's Mist. Hey, 1-0, buddy. That's what we wanted. That's what we got. Game itself, I was very impressed with the defense so far. Yeah, they let some stuff slide, especially getting later into the game, but they had to bail us out so many times at the beginning, spent nearly the entire first quarter on the field. A lot of Jacoby Dean out of nowhere looking great. Reed Blankenship with that huge interception. I mean, that could be the game right there. Yeah, I'm very impressed with the defense. Offense, obviously, Saquon Barkley doing what we got him to do. If they just give him the fucking ball, Hurts, just give it to him. Stop bringing it back. Hurts, overall, I'm not going to lie, a little worried. Seeing some of the last year stuff, seeing the indecision, seeing the running out of the pocket into the defenders when he doesn't need to. But, first game, we'll see. Go Birds.
I think that's fair. I really do. I think that's fair, and there's plenty of reasons why that's reasonable to feel the way that you do. I'm not sure about Hurts right now, though I lean towards he is still a fantastic quarterback. I just hope this turnover issue doesn't really stick, because if it does, then we have to have some really difficult conversations on who exactly he is and what the distance can be for a football team that has a quarterback like that, because some would say the reason the Buffalo Bills can't take that next step is because Josh Allen turns the rock over too much. And Josh Allen is a very special talent, and you would love to have Josh Allen as your quarterback. He also has to deal with Pat Mahomes, and if he was in the NFC, then maybe it's different because maybe he gets out of a conference championship. Doesn't have to deal with a crazy overtime, heartbreaking defeat like we've seen in his postseason career against the Chiefs. So, just things to throw out there. I don't know about him, but I do understand where you're coming from with the defense. The defense has real structure now. Things to clean up, but there seems to be structure. And you got to have that first set as the foundation before you can take the next step. So, all right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes. Thank you all so much for kicking it with me, and I'll see you all on the next one.